Hello and welcome to the Love is Blind RHAP-Up. I'm Aysha and it's Friday. So it's Flower Friday and I'm here with my co-host, Mary. Mary, how are you?
Oh, Asia, just you wait. After this podcast, I'm taking you on a plane. I hope you I hope you're excited for it. And then
I
we're gonna
can't
have
wait.
dinner at the Geology Museum.
You know, I hate to say it, but I pass by that museum all the time. It's
Okay, so
next
what
to
is it? Because I wrote down at the Rock Museum question mark. Is that
It's
like
like
what
the
it is?
Museum of Natural Sciences.
Oh, okay. It looked
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, they have like a King Tut exhibit right now. But we're here to talk about Love is Blind, episodes 8 and 9. And we're not alone. We are here with two guys who, as Miriam likes to say, would drag us to filth. They like to do that every season, or think that they do. Jason and Isaiah. Jason, how are you?
Oh, Asia, I'm good. I'm happy to be here again with two of my favorite pod chicks. Um, just me and Isaiah, as we do come in and we turn this podcast upside down. Excited to talk about this season question mark that we've never seen before of Love Is Blind. So I'm excited.
Isaiah, how are you?
I'm good. Third time for us doing this. I'll make sure not to leave my dishes in the sink for 3 days or not to leave my clothes in the corner of the house or anything like that. I'll make
What
sure I'm
about
on
your
top of it.
plate on the couch?
Yeah, I had to go to work, but it's all right.
Well, I am so excited to get into this with all of you. If you are listening to this, make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are on the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube channel, as well as the Love at First Sight feed. Make sure you go subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating and review over on the Love at First Sight feed. You can find that at robhasawebsite.com/first sight feed. Yeah. So let's dive into it. Love is blind. Is love blind?
No, definitely not. I think we've proven this season with JP and Taylor, love is definitely not blind.
We've lost the plot, I feel.
Oh yeah, 100%.
This feels like a different show than all of the other seasons of Love is Blind, mostly because of the things that have come out, which we maybe can discuss about what happened during filming of this season, how many couples there really were, what they've had to do in editing. And because of that, we have way fewer scenes of them like in their houses living together and stuff. It's like it almost feels like they had to build in content for us, which I know they must have filmed already, but like having an entire almost 2 episodes that take place just at this like pod squad meetup. Yikes.
Yeah, literally. Let's get into that up front. So there's been some information to come out that there were 4 additional couples that got engaged in the pods. One of which story was actually filmed. They made it to the altar. But then for whatever reason, there's a lot of speculation out there on TikTok, but for whatever reason, they decided not to include this couple's story on this season. And then the other 3 couples didn't even do Mexico and stuff. So that's like the typical situation with the couples that get engaged and don't go through the Love is Blind process. So the couple that got engaged and made it all the way to the altar and were filmed was Carter and Renee. And it's so funny because I watched this before I knew this information, or watched these 2 episodes before I knew this information. And with the wedding dress shopping, I was like, why is Renee the friend that comes in a white dress?
Yeah, why did they clearly edit it to introduce it like, oh, and who did you bring with you? Oh, Renee. When clearly you watch it knowing that she was a bride too, there to try on her dresses, that the way that Vanessa talks to her like, oh, and hi, Renee, it makes it work so much more. Yeah, now the part that I'm still a little confused over is even with Renee and Carter, that's still only 4 couples that they had go through the whole process. I mean, or that the show was expecting to go through the whole process. We know that only 3, since Taylor and JP stopped after Mexico, actually got there. But in the past years, they've had 5 couples, I believe, always make it to Mexico. So if they had other engagements, I'm surprised they didn't send another one.
Right. I don't know.
Well, I saw something in the news.
Oh, okay.
That one of the Love Is Blind season 5 participants is suing, the production company and everything, because she says that she was on the trip to Mexico with her engaged person, but there was some sexual assault allegations, which may or may not be why it was not put on the show. The couple in question was Tran Dang and Thomas Smith. I don't recall ever seeing any of those people's names in the pod era, so I don't know. But that I think came out today, not long ago. That the woman is suing the production company for sexual assault. She says that she was on the trip to Mexico, and that's where the sexual assault happened.
Oh, that would make way more sense for why they're doing that. Yeah. Then, in this case, I think we can go ahead and say, what on earth was happening with vetting some of these people this season?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want me to keep it a stack, this show is full of crap. Okay, like this is not the first time that they have blatantly hid stuff from us. Like the first shade was like that whole Zeneb and Cole thing a couple seasons ago. I'm like, why did you wait till the reunion to show this? Or, I was like, you know what? This is a reality show. They're going to not show us everything. I'm like, all right, cool. And then allegedly you got this season with Uche and Aaliyah and him claiming certain things, and we can get into that later. But I'm learning over time that first of all, this experiment is fake as hell, because this is 2 seasons in a row where people are meeting outside of the pods, and it's more focused on oh, love really isn't blind. Let's try this in the real world. And I'm just isn't that defeat the purpose? But there's also every season, apparently a bunch of people who get engaged. They only handpick a couple, and if anything negative happens, they only show the ones that doesn't go bad. So it's just what is going on here? I'm getting tired of Love Is Blind. I'm gonna be real with you. I still watch it because I like the mess, but I'm tired of it. And I see your spirit, Netflix. I'm getting tired of you, but I had to get that off my chest. Sorry.
I don't even see Tran in this list of the cast.
I don't know.
What was the guy's name?
Thomas Smith.
I wonder if they just completely edited them out, even from releasing them as contestants.
Wow. This show never fails to make the news.
You know what I think the problem is with this season in particular?
What is it?
It's gotta be Houston, right?
Okay.
I mean,
every time I watch a love show that's in Houston, it goes bad.
Obviously, anyone who lives in Houston obviously has some sort of issues. So,
listen,
I guess it's just the locale, right, Aysha?
Not right. But I will say the dating scene in Houston is trash. That is a fact.
We can see.
That is a fact. I will say this is an accurate representation of what it's like to date in Houston. So they're not wrong there. But there are good people in Houston. This isn't this is a great microcosm of the people in Houston. No, it's just the people wild enough to do this show.
The edited versions of TV shows I've been shown tell me that you're lying, but I'll take your word for it since you actually live there. So, I'll just have to take your word for it.
Look, hey, I didn't know any of these people, and I'd be around.
We know.
I leave my house. I'd be out in these Houston streets. But none of these people. I did find out that one of my friends took a Pilates class with Stacy a few years ago.
A lot of people. Houston's pretty big. You know a lot of people.
It's a what is it? Population of 4 million?
And you know all of them.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.5.
Aysha is three degrees of separation away from any reality person from Houston. Anybody from Houston, let's put it like that.
Whatever. So yeah, I think it's kind of mind-blowing that this is probably not even the end of it. There's probably more to come, because the other 3 couples that got engaged, we didn't even see them go on dates. there was like Enoch. I was like, he's a decent looking guy. I mean, I know this is Love is Blind. No one can see him, but you would think that we would at least see people on dates with him. And he was one of the ones who got engaged. And I was like, what is happening? They just spent so little time on everyone else and just went all in on the three of the couples.
Which I don't really see why. When I look at these couples, I'm like, what is there really that interesting about any of them? There's a mid-level tier of drama, but nothing that rises to the level of we have to follow these people. Like we have to devote all of our time to these people. The only thing that really is interesting about them is their out of relationship drama with other people they didn't get hooked up with.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Let me keep it real. Everybody but like one person this cast annoys me in like some way, shape, or form. And you know, I'm excited to talk about them, but like I really think that this is probably one of the most leak likely. Like I don't like these people. Like
I mean, yeah, by the end of episode 9, I'm like, all right,
yeah. I like Milton against Chris.
I don't count.
Listen,
I don't count.
I do. Okay, listen.
Chris comes across as a little bit of a doormat and a little bit.
Okay,
like
that's not hateable. That's not hateable.
It's not hateable. It's just
it's annoying. That's what
Isaiah's talking about all the cats. I'm talking about the people that we're following.
Do y'all have a like every season we have a favorite couple? Do y'all have a favorite couple?
No. Actually, yes. I would say there is one couple that I am actively rooting for.
Who?
Quietly, silently, which is I want the best for Johnny and Chris.
Oh
boy. Wow.
Johnny.
And here's why.
Oh boy.
Because I do feel like there are people who are chaotic and messy, but they don't necessarily need to be reamed out like that. I don't understand the idea that's like being an adult is understanding that when someone offends you or you don't think that the things that they say or do are 100% on the up and up, you just cut them out of your life and you just ignore them. It's not the better move to go rip into them in public on a TV show. That's not that doesn't make you look like a good person. And so I just feel bad for them a little bit.
I mean, go ahead, Isaiah.
I was about to say she ain't have a problem doing it behind their backs on the TV show either. Okay,
I agree. I'm not saying she's perfect.
She started it.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. I agree with that.
Okay, Izzy.
But they're also they have the benefit of not being on the show very much, so I don't have to see all the probably messy things that they're saying and doing. As well.
I'll say that Johnny did not deserve the bullying treatment from Stacey and Izzy, which is what I'll call it because that's what it was at that party. But Johnny, Johnny's not free of blame, not free of mess. 100%. She's a very messy, chaotic person, and and plays a victim a lot. She was a victim of bullying here. I will give her that, but she loves to play the victim. She loves to claim I did nothing wrong. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what you were doing, Johnny. You know what you were doing. You're not getting it past me.
That part.
I see you. Isaiah sees you. So we know you. We see you. So I will say, no one really deserves the type of bullying treatment she got. But
yeah, I just don't like the attitude of I showed them, they deserve that. And it's bullying. Nobody needed to do that though.
She did it herself.
Let's get into it with Chris and with the whole Chris, Johnny, Izzy, and Stacey. So episode 8, we got they spent as much time as possible in the rest of that party, and so one subplot of the night was them all talking, and it started out with Chris and Izzy trying to hash things out, I'm looking out for you, bro, don't worry about this. And then Stacey coming up thinking that she was escaping the drama from Uche, and then she's kind of annoyed that Izzy's over here talking about Johnny. Then Johnny comes up with that energy what are y'all are saying the wrong things. I think that's when the conversation switched to what it became was how Johnny approached, because she didn't really actually see what they were talking about first. She just immediately came in being really defensive, and it just turned into this, look, we're never gonna like you, Johnny, with Stacey and Izzy. And then Izzy trying to say, oh, Chris, don't worry, we're still boys.
But I mean, there were so many little things that were building up to this. And this is why in this one scene, I was like, this is rough. I mean, you have and we'll circle back around to it, but you have the whole Uche explaining what's going on with Lydia, and Johnny, probably like most people, gives a big reaction. Whoa, her mouth falls open. She's like, what? And Stacey's like, is something wrong with your face? Are you okay? Why are you looking at me? And she looks at her and she's like, and she's like, why are you looking at me like that? And it's like, I'm looking at the people who are telling you, what are you talking about?
I was trying to bond with you. Johnny's like, I was trying to bond with you about how ridiculous this is, and now you're turning on me. Like, I was trying to make inroads.
It literally just shows, like, when someone hates another person, anything about that other person they despise. So even Johnny reacting,
I think we can't like ignore the fact that like part of the reason, and I'll say a lot of positive things about the way that Stacey interprets some of these things later, but like Stacey's in a position where she was, for at least a certain period of time in the pods, the second choice, or possibly even the third choice. Johnny was Izzy's number one choice, and she knew that for a while. And so knowing that, and knowing that that I think I called him Johnny. Oh no, Johnny's the girl. Never mind. I was like, who's Johnny? That Izzy, knowing that Izzy and Johnny had a relationship, even though Izzy's going to deny it. He's going to say she was just a girl in the pods. Like,
we were a pod chick.
He might as well have said female. I did not like that.
That's the kind of thing that I'm like, you're like correcting semantics of like trying to tell Johnny that you didn't have a breakup because you weren't really, like, you're trying to minimize the relationship. But there clearly was a relationship. Otherwise, you wouldn't care about any of this. And you would just be like, oh yeah, that was weird. Yeah, she was kind of a weird girl who I talked to for a little while. But you feel the need to put her in her place. And then this whole guise that like most of the people have, which is like, I need to protect you, Chris, my friend, because I don't want you to make a mistake. Because, you know, we're really good friends because we've known each other for a very short period of time. Like, if you had a best friend for years and years and years, and then they start dating someone that you know is bad news, yeah, you probably want to talk to them about this. The people who are dating in this scenario have known each other just as long as you've known, like, the friend. Like, you don't have... I don't know. It just feels like a really weird line to cross to feel the need to do this.
The guy's is paper thin. He's like, I'm not literally. I'm not doing this because of some perceived slight from Johnny that I think I had. That I think she lied to me. I'm doing this because we're bros. Like, I'm looking out for you, bro. Bros over, the other word. I'm not gonna say the other word, but whatever.
What is? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, whatever. It's so transparent. It might as well have been like just that cellophane paper.
And I love that Chris and Milton are so unbothered by like all of these types of conversations that they're just like, I'm gaining the info, whatever, I'm going to make the decisions I want to about it. But like, Izzy calls Johnny a bad person. And then when Chris says you called Johnny a bad person, he says he didn't. Stacey then walks up and calls Johnny a bad person. It's like, clearly you did. So got caught in another one.
To be fair, to play devil's advocate, right? It's like Johnny, so she got her rocks off, like she was pissed. She was talking a lot of trash in them pods, and then she got to leave. And she got to accept the whole situation and get over it. These people apparently are in group chats talking and all that, and they're just hearing like outside of the pods that she was talking crazy about all of them. Okay. So it's like, realistically, you're going to have like a little feeling towards that, like, why are you talking all this trash? And this is the first time they actually get to express these feelings. So this has probably been sitting on their mind for a little bit. First time you see this person face to face and be like, yeah, you're kind of fake for that, because why were you talking about me behind this? And she's like, I'm sure Johnny's like, listen, that was in the past, I'm over it. But they're not over it. Like, they're just now like getting to actually talk about it. So I do, to an extent, feel like, okay, I get why like you'll be pissed. Now, I do think they harped on it a little too long. I think Izzy's friendship with Chris was kind of being like exploited for a good reasoning when it wasn't really, Stacey called it out, like, you don't really care about that man like that. But overall, I mean, Johnny got her lashings and she thought that she could talk trash and then just like never see these people.
But she was only talking trash on Izzy, right?
It seems like she was talking on the show. We saw her talk trash about Stacey too.
Yeah, she said about Stacey in the pods.
I mean, she basically just said like, "Oh, he's gonna regret that he's with her and stuff." Like,
and she's his Lydia and all. Yeah. Like she was talking a lot.
And this is the thing. It's like in normal.
she just got broken up with.
Right. Like in normal life, when you get dumped,
all right, so
if
you guys
vent to
hear,
your friends,
you
and
guys
then you
hear
don't have to deal with it again.
that
But now
someone
that
that's into your guy is starting to talk crazy about you behind your back, you're just gonna be like, it's nothing. We can be friends.
it's not that I'm gonna say, oh, it's nothing. We can be friends. I just don't think that it's going to make me look better to go yell at them in public.
I don't think they care about that.
Listen,
at that point.
Aysha and Mary are a couple of Miltons. Isaiah, you are an Izzy.
I'm just on a different parallel.
I'm a Milton too.
Isaiah,
I'm not doing all that.
This is
I'm on
multidimensional
the
calculus.
Z-axis. Like, we're in
yeah.
Oh my God.
Wait, and I want to be clear to everyone who's listening to this. It's not that I'm like, oh, Johnny and Chris have nothing wrong with them. All these people are messy. All these people are on a show. They're all messy. But I think we all need to look at ourselves and say, have we all been perfect in our relationships? When we get dumped, do we like trash talk our ex? Of course we do. You just don't expect that to come back and bite you instantly, because you're probably not going to have to see them and their new significant other again.
Yeah. I think my issue with it was the level of intensity that Izzy and Stacey were showing. The term shit person got thrown around, I think, 80,000 times within a conversation.
Literally.
You're shitty, you're a shit person, you're this, you're that. And I just think the intensity of it was terrible and was bullying, in my opinion. And did Johnny deserve a little bit of a stern talking to? Maybe a little bit. But not to that level, not to that degree. And I love how, like, Stacey, for the 1,000th time, Stacey tells Johnny, like, she's a shit person. And Johnny's like, well, ask all those people over there if I'm a shit person or not. And Stacey's like, I did. And I am pretty clarified in my opinion. And then she goes to talk to the other people and they're like, I don't know, we like Johnny. I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
yeah.
And also, I think with Stacey and Izzy in particular, alcohol was the enemy. In this case, they were lit up. You can clearly see it in that interaction and in the conversation later at their apartment. They were toe up from the flow up. And so I think that definitely contributed to their level of rage.
Casamigos was hitting too hard. Okay.
Because as a couple, y'all are going after this woman, and it's just like, why? First of all, why do you care so much? And then Stacey trying to take a step back. Wait a second, Izzy, why do you care? Stacey, 20 minutes ago, you were going in on her too. Why do you care? Like, it's one of those things where Johnny should just be a non-factor. Johnny was not. I understand that Johnny. She's saying these things. Her whole thing with Chris. They're not in that relationship. Let that run its course. If it's going to run its course, it's going to run its course. If she is, if she's a toxic person, Chris will find out. Izzy, that is not on you to go rescue her or rescue Chris because you think you know so well. Oh, but y'all weren't together, but you know her so well. So it's just like, pick a lane. And I do think there's a happy medium between like a Chris and a Milton and where Izzy and Stacey were, but no one found that.
And that's why I feel for like Stacey in this part, even though it's a little hypocritical, is that when they do come home, I do feel like she's like, why are we even talking about Johnny anymore? Like, if you actually didn't care, you wouldn't bring it up. And don't you understand that, like, I don't want to be compared to her or think about her or whatever. At that part, I agree with, like, even though she wasn't acting like it when they were out.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that I've realized with Izzy in the show, in the pods and outside of it, is that he's like big on trauma bonding. And like, it seems like he's always like, in order to like bond with Stacey, like kind of like talking crap or like talking about like mishaps. I'm like, bruh, like y'all home now. It's over.
His attitude afterwards, like, it was basically like, God, I'm so glad we could be toxic and bullying together. Wasn't that fun to really just tear her down? And like he talks about, like, he's like, man, and I saw you over there really against her. I was so turned on. I was like, oh my, like, you're a monster.
I literally cringed physically.
You're a monster person, sir.
Yes.
That didn't have the reaction I think he thought it was going to.
Yeah. He thought she was going to be like, yeah. Love that.
Do that again.
Yeah. What else did you like that I said?
Pretend this pillow was Johnny. Talk to Johnny like he did earlier.
Yeah, that crazy kink, man. That was wild.
Oh my gosh. God. So at the other side of the party, we have this big drama with Uche, who's there to expose Lydia, apparently. And because we left off on the cliffhanger with her, or with Uche and Milton talking. And so we get this whole run of thing of him talking to Milton, and then Uche talking to the pod squad. and then Lydia talking to the pod squad, and then Uche talking back to Milton about, Lydia knew I was gonna be here, so protect yourself. And so what was Uche's purpose? Like, what was his goal here?
He's trying to take revenge. That's
Okay,
Uche's whole purpose, is to, you ruin my relationship, I'm gonna ruin your relationship. That was his whole thing. That was his whole purpose, his whole goal here in his mind.
Yeah. It was definitely revenge. He lost some. He wanted her to lose some. I'm gonna be real with you. I find Uche and Lydia equally annoying, because one of them, I think both of them are lying to an extent, and I just don't know who's more right. But I feel like they're both throwing like half truths in here, because Uche isn't going to just come out of nowhere and be like, hey, I have receipts of this person doing this, this, and that. If you got receipts, you got receipts. You know what I'm saying? So, kind of caught red-handed. Also, but Lydia dropping some bombs saying that he cheated. I'm like, that's wild. But
She never said cheated. She said he slept with someone while we were dating.
There you go. Dating,
so it feels like half truth, because
they weren't in a relationship. She was just some girl before the pods.
There's a lot of
she's a pre-pod chick. Yeah,
pre-pod chick. Yeah,
pre-pod chick.
There's a lot of bull crap with these two. So I don't really care about what happened between either one of them. They both get on my nerves at this point. Because I don't believe either one of you.
So I Lydia's tough, because I feel like there is a kernel of truth here that Lydia did know that Uche was going to be on the show and apply for the show to be matched with Uche. I feel like that's definitely part of her reasoning. Do I feel like after she got there and got rejected by Uche that she went through the process and found Milton? Do I believe that she actually loves Milton? I do. I think she actually, got here, was like, oh, actually there's this guy that I really like, and she's gonna go on with that. But I have this picture in my mind of like Lydia, like as Uche leaves home for the day to go to work, she's like in his trash cans, like trying to find like some Love Is Blind like application form. She's like, got it, and like she's like, and that was her whole thing. But I do think that she knew he was going to be on there. She came on there for him, but I do think what her and Milton have is real.
And I'm also not fully on one side in comparison to the other is that I'm not going to forget that Aaliyah thing that she did, because that was also really shady.
Oh, devious. Lydia is definitely devious in that regard.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They both got some weird stuff going on. That's why I'm not too angry at either one of them. They're both toxic. Mm-hmm. So
the thing that sold her for Lydia for me was when she was like, when she told Aaliyah, like, I feel like you are me. You're basically dropping like ominous clues about who you are. Like that for me was
like a big brother. I have a relative in this house.
Yeah, there's a secret twist that sees you don't know about it.
Yeah. So Mary, what did you think about how Milton handled all of this?
So I liked a lot of how Milton handled this. As a relatively analytical person myself, I appreciate the like logic side of it. It was kind of cracking me up when he starts talking about, the parallel planes and all of that, in different dimensions. Like, yeah, that not everyone is going to jive with what you're saying. And I can understand how sometimes in the moment, a person might just be like, I just need you to be on my side. And like, then we'll unpack all the emotions later. So I thought it went like relatively well for Milton. I think, Milton and Chris, they both just seem so unbothered by this because they know that they're fine and that they haven't done anything weird. So they're just like, sure, tell me stuff, and then I'll decide whether or not I want to stay in the relationship, But yeah, I think Uche also like came into the whole party situation thinking he was going to have everyone on his side and not really realizing that either people don't care because Aaliyah's not there. No one else was interested in Aaliyah, or they like Lydia. And so like, especially when the girls started saying, yeah, that's not really how it was from our side with Lydia. Like even everything Jason and Isaiah were just saying about Lydia being devious with Aaliyah, like whether or not she had ulterior motives, I think that the other girls in the pods like were able to see that it seemed like Lydia and Aaliyah were friends. And so they're going to read that a little differently being there, 100% of the time. Whereas the guys are only hearing hearing hearsay through the walls. So I think it kind of fell flat for Uche, swing and a miss. But you know, he's sad that it didn't work out for him, and that's the way it is.
He's like, look, she came here for me. It didn't work out for me, so I'm about to make sure it doesn't work out for her. But Milton was the wrong person to try to. Milton's like, look, I don't know anything about all of that. Whatever that is,
drama
blah, blah, blah.
doesn't matter. Yeah,
Milton is the least pressed person you've ever met in your life. He said, and Milton's in a precarious situation, right? Because Uche is trying to talk to Milton, and Lydia's like trying to pull Milton away. You can't let your girl like pull you away from the conversation. So it's like, well, now because you tried to pull away from the conversation, I have to have the conversation, but I'm not gonna listen. And just how unbothered Milton looked to do the whole thing. He wouldn't even look Uche in the face while Uche was trying to talk to him. Like Uche, like Milton, like looked away from the phone as Uche tried to show him the Instagram. She's like, here. He's like, oh, I guess you.
He's like, I literally don't want to see it.
Don't care.
And that's a thing. Like, just because someone does something in one relationship doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be messy like that in another. Like, if everyone who was in one toxic relationship was therefore forbidden from ever being in a good one, then no one would be in any relationships.
Exactly.
Again, to play devil's advocate, I'm not saying I co-sign anything that Uche did, because I think
Isaiah,
listen, I think wait.
Look, this is a minor point, but how old are you again?
I'm 25.
Yeah, you're Milton's age.
Okay, listen, I'm saying,
listen,
he came in here and she allegedly signed up to try to get back with him, maybe, and she low-key like sabotaged a potential relationship for him. So I'm not saying like the way he handled it was good, but like I understand being pissed about it, because if she did sign up just because he was on here, it's like, damn, you came in here, ruined what I had going on, and you get to leave being happy. What's going on here?
Am I the only one who doesn't think that Lydia was actively trying to sabotage, but that instead she was more like trying to get involved and be a third party in that relationship, but not with the goal of necessarily ending it, but clearly with some unresolved feelings and feeling the need to be like a middleman and like pass on information. Like, I don't think that she was necessarily having those conversations being like, my goal is to break them up. I think it was more like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I knew people like this in high school and middle school. It was like they would have an ex that they broke up with even, but they felt the need to like be in that new relationship, not because they wanted to break it up, but they just wanted to be involved. And that's kind of more how I perceived it in the pods. And then I think once she was happy with Milton, she kind of didn't care anymore. Mm-hmm. But that's how I read it. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. She did some wild things. And if she was looking in his stuff and then like got on the show because of that, that's too much. You're doing too much.
I do think
you said who was texting, Isaiah?
I said, didn't they say that they spoke outside the joint when they had their dinner or whatever? I could be wrong about that.
Aaliyah and Uche?
Aaliyah and Lydia. I could be wrong about that.
Did she say that?
Don't quote me on that. I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But, I don't think so. But anyway, regardless, if you do want to look at it that way, we also got to look at the last topic, Izzy. In his situation, it's literally the same thing, just different people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, they moved on. Why are you still trying to get involved with their relationship?
Yeah.
Boom. That's what I'm saying? Like,
I hear you. I hear you.
Mary, I'm not with you on the Lydia wasn't trying to break up Aaliyah and Uche. I think with the whole like, oh, when I bought his dog this toy, like you know what seed that's planting in your mind. Like every time Aaliyah goes over there and sees that dog toy, she would see Lydia in that dog toy. Like, oh yeah, right. Lydia's trying to incept herself into the situation. So I definitely think there was a part of that for Lydia.
I think both are true. I think she had ill intent at the beginning. And then parallel situation, as her feelings grew for Milton, she cared a little bit less about, wait, do I want to go back to Uche? I don't want somebody like, it was what she was communicating to Milton later in this drop is like, you know, I didn't want to be with somebody who treated me like that. Or realizing Milton didn't treat her that way. Like realizing, wait, I have a better thing right here. Why do I care about Uche?
And maybe I'm giving too much benefit of the doubt here, but like, I don't think it can be both things. I don't think that she can both have gone on the show to try and win Uche back and see if there was something there, and to sabotage any future relationship he had. Like, I think it needs to be one or the other. And so if she, like, I 100% agree that she was doing things that were going to affect Aaliyah's relationship. But like, I know a person in my life who like didn't even date someone but was close friends with them, and then when they got engaged, she was constantly like talking to the fiance and being like, oh yeah, I know they love that movie, oh, you didn't know this about them, oh, blah blah blah, like saying the kind of things Lydia was saying, acting like she's in this relationship, and she wasn't even doing it to break them up. She was just doing it to be involved, to like, I guess the most manipulative way you could interpret that is like she's doing it because she wants the fiance to know that she has a place in their life, which is not great and not healthy and not good, but doesn't necessarily mean that she's trying to break them up.
So here's what I think the timeline was, right? They get into the pods, day one, Lydia and Uche. Oh my God, Uche? That's you? I had no idea you're going to be here. Uche pretty much soundly rejects her outright, right? And I think from that point on, she's like, oh, you're gonna reject me? Oh, you're not getting a relationship either, buddy. Like, I think that was definitely part of the motive here for Lydia.
I could see that. I could see that. It's just,
now y'all see why I find both of them annoying.
Well, I find him the most annoying. Why? What the heck is wrong with him when he goes with the pod squad and he is just going, why did it become him versus the women? Like for him to bring out the information from the dates with Miriam that he was just sitting on. Do you live in Saudi Arabia or do you not? Do you have a boyfriend?
Okay. I mean, who are you?
He was asking questions that I had about Miriam from that one episode. Like,
okay,
you were shady in that pod. I wanted some answers too. But yeah, if Uche didn't show his whole ass the last drop, he finished the pants drop in this episode. Okay, because like, where do they find these men that are so readily down to be cruel to women? It's amazing to me. And just the way that he's yelling at Mary, like the only way that he wants to hear someone that might have a little bit of agreement with him, he only wants to hear from that person. I mean, I don't want to hear from you because I know you're gonna be against me. So Stacey, I think you might be on my side. So let me hear from you, baby.
No, it's not only that. It's Miriam. I don't want to hear it because you might be against me. And also, what's going on with your job?
Yeah. Well, that was just burnt earth after that, because he was done, and he's doing all this as he's walking away. By the way, he's like, and where do you live? Like, what is your job? I need to get all this out before I storm off. Like, it was.
Listen, this is crazy. How you can see this is a bad season, because we're relying on people who didn't even make it out the pods for entertainment right now. Like, I'm like, who the hell is Miriam? Stacey? I'm like, who are these?
Miriam.
Oh, Stacey. I know. Yeah. I didn't remember her.
I didn't remember Miriam stuck in my head because of how shady she was in the pod. That one clip we got of her was like, what is going on with this lady?
Now, Miriam has come out on TikTok and said that was extremely chopped and screwed. Like, in that
of course, everything is this season
thing that she was saying. She was like, if you listen to this is not how a person speaks. They edited it so weird. I re-listened to it. I think it's some of both. I think you were both saying it a little weird, and also it was definitely chopped up.
Definitely, definitely.
I don't know what was going on there.
He definitely ate her up, though. I ain't gonna lie. That was crazy.
She said, I will read you for the filth that you are.
She ain't doing it.
I was like, then do it, girl. She didn't do it.
Be ready. Yeah, like Miriam, I knew, and like, it's funny that Renee is one of the people that were engaged, because from the first episode, like, Renee sticks in my head for some reason. Every time I saw her, it's like, oh, there's Renee. Like, she's a vet tech. She's 31. I remember that. Like, and so it's interesting that she's one of the people that got engaged as well, that we didn't see.
Even on the last drop, we saw Milton talking alone with Carter. They probably were also talking about Carter's relationship. We only got his opinions on JP. But yeah, the only other weird thing that happened at the party was Lydia talking with the pod squad and Johnny being like, well, there's a lot that doesn't make sense. I need you to explain. It's like,
this is why we can't like you, Johnny. This is the problem.
I'm sorry.
Like, girl, move on.
You got your own problems, Johnny. Focus on those. Don't go stirring more stuff up.
I feel like she wanted some camera time. That's literally what I feel.
Do you guys think that Lydia liked the way Milton approached this? Because I feel like she said, you know, are you going to defend me? I think Lydia wanted Milton to get really hot and bothered with Uche and to scream and yell at him like Lydia did. And I think, like, she said it, I think, in the moment. She's like, "Are you always going to defend me?" or something like that. And then later on in their dinner, she's like, I need you to. What did she say? I need you to defend me or something like that. I think she
at the
really.
very least, she wanted him to like shut Uche down and just walk away and ignore it. Like
for sure.
At the very least.
Listen, I'm not gonna really do well with Milton, let's go now.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Don't scream at me in public. Like,
and I just think it's so funny how everyone is like on Milton because he's 24 years old, but he is the one at this party acting like a real adult and not getting loud and belligerent. I think that was very interesting and weird. And I kind of want to see the piss that Milton took. He told Lydia that it was one to remember.
He wouldn't stop talking about it. He said it was 20 minutes.
Wouldn't stop.
So we leave the party, we move on, or let's talk about Stacy and Izzy in their entirety. So we get this aftermath from the party where Izzy is Stacy too, but Izzy is very clearly eyes glazed over, talking with a slur,
stumbling,
talking as slow as possible. I said, this is not a conversation y'all should be having right now. This is let's go to sleep and talk about it in the morning. Fresh feeling, like, let's sleep on it. Because clearly they get into this argument about how he doesn't feel like she appreciates him because she's saying the things that she does is not reciprocated, and how she didn't like how he was handled tonight by trying to take up for Chris when Chris clearly just cares about Johnny and cares more about Johnny than he cares about Izzy. This was a mess.
Did y'all understand where the transition came in from talking about Johnny to talking about things he doesn't do for her? I was like, oh, where did this like tangent come from?
It's because of they started talking about she was like, this is the only time I see the most passion from you, and she's like, I want to see that you're afraid to lose me all the time.
I was like, huh?
Very weird request.
When she said that, I said, huh, that's not
Very
normal.
weird.
Here's something I think people and couples need to lose from their vocabulary. If someone says, I feel like you don't do X, Y, or Z for me, the response should not be, don't I? Don't I do that? They're telling you that you don't. So at the very least, they're feeling like you're not.
Yeah, but they could be wrong, Mary. Okay? They could be wrong.
But when she's like, you've said, I feel like you're not showing, whatever, love or passion to me in the ways that I want. Don't I, though? List how I don't. It's like,
that's why I feel like they never got back to the point, because it was like, okay, clearly y'all have different interpretations of what you're saying you're expressing, right? So what Izzy should be doing in this moment is, what does that look like for you? Because he said he feels like he's giving his best. And if she still feels like that's not enough, then y'all need to figure out where's the middle ground, because your Monday flowers are not what she's looking for in terms of feeling like he's putting in that effort.
Yeah.
He wants to just have a relationship, and she wants a doormat. Well, let me just keep it a stack.
Oh, I don't.
I disagree with that.
I need my feet rubbed. I need to be cooked. I need all this stuff. When I get home from work, I'm tired. Listen,
that's a relationship, Isaiah.
That's
it's
fine.
Give and take. It's not like when I come in, I need these things done for
There's
me. And
nothing wrong with
anything
that.
For you.
She wants what am I trying to say? Reciprocity. Yeah, there you go. They want to be equal in the things they do for each other. They want to. She wants him to cook for her while she also cooks for him. She wants them to both do things.
Exactly.
But and the thing was like, I want you to cook for me like you said you would. I cook for you. He's like, bro, you cook twice. Don't hate. We've been having takeout like almost every day. You cook for me twice. But keep it 100.
I think it's not that she wants a doormat. Like, I'm not necessarily agreeing with everything that she says she wants from him. I think that, and I don't know that she directly said this, but I do think that it's a lot to say, like, I need flowers from you every Monday for the rest of our lives, or whatever. Like, I mean, it's
he's
fine.
offering that.
That was
him.
If that's a thing he offered, and if that's something that like works for them, that's great. But I think like the key here is figuring out what each other's love languages are and how they need to receive it. Because if he feels comfortable giving flowers every Monday, but she's not getting anything out of that, then this isn't for anybody. You're just doing it because it makes you feel good. If she says, what I want to see from you is that the things you say, that you then do those things. If you're saying, I'm going to cook from you, it's not necessarily that I really am dying for you to cook for me. It's the fact that you said it and then you haven't done it. But yes, you've given me flowers. That's great, because that's the way you've chosen to give it. So like, that's why it's a very big conversation, because a lot of times the way that people want to receive love is not the same as the way that they want to give love or show it, or like they feel comfortable doing that. So it needs to be a conversation. So I think both of them, like, this is just like a miscommunication kind of thing. Like, this is something that they could fix and work on, but it's not really something to get defensive about. I mean, like, we talked about this with Nicole. Like, there's clearly a lot of the tension in Izzy and Stacey's relationship has to do with like class dynamics and the way that they grew up. And that's clearly something that's going to give them very different perspectives, and that is going to feel very personal, especially to Izzy. But I think like the answer isn't always, I'm going to not do things and then feel like I'm on tiptoes because I'm not good enough for you. And that she also can't expect him to do things for her that he has never experienced doing for anyone else before. I think there has to be a middle ground there.
And you know, I'm not going to defend either one of them, because like I said, I find both of them annoying. But it's like, the reason why I'm saying I'm kind of pushing back on this whole 50-50 thing, because the first thing they said when they got in this house, oh, you're going to need to pay the bills. If something breaks, you're going to need to fix it. If we go out on dinner, you need to pay for it.
Where were these words said?
She didn't say all that. She didn't say all that. She said about the dinner. She said she wants to go.
I remember cough up like,
she want to go 50-50 on the HVAC.
She was like, okay, hypothetical situation. The HVAC goes out. Are we?
I'm wrong.
But regardless, Chris is a poor. That's the problem.
That's okay. And it's also like, and I don't know if this is wrong to say, because I think they both have like wants and needs, right? But they're not compatible, right?
No, not at all.
I will say, like, I don't know the right way to say this. I think Izzy's like a lot more emotional about things, and then I think Stacey's more like, this is just how things need to be, and he's just like trying to like change himself to like fit what she wants, and she kind of is pretty transparent about like, if it's not like this, it's not going to work. So I don't know why they're both trying to make this work, because it's not looking good. And obviously we're going to talk about what happens later on in episode 9, which I'm like, what the hell? But not good.
They remind me of that one couple on The Ultimatum season 2, which, don't ask me their names because that season is so far out of my mind. But that one couple that had this similar dynamic. But I do think it's what Mary said. All they need to do is communicate. If Izzy is washing her car, cleaning the kitchen, making the bed every morning, taking her dog for a walk, and her love language is not acts of service, and she values quality time, none of that's going to mean as much. And he's going to be like, I show you how much I care about you all the time. And so it's just like, they just need to communicate better. But they keep just like bringing it back to like this conversation was weird, because it was just like, he got, very emotional about, how he feels not valued in this relationship. And so it was more so her trying to make him feel better. And then they never got back to the problem.
It was bad. She was like, oh, well, I said what I said. I don't care. And then you got Izzy crying in the other room, like, yo, like, just
like, what you crying for? Like, very
the shot of him, look, we've all been there, but the shot of him crying in the dark closet.
I mean,
I've never.
I'm just like,
I haven't been there, Mary. Okay, I think you gotta tell me yourself a little bit, but hey,
I'm just saying. I mean, it's hard. It's hard because you're like, there's so much of the actions on this show I watch and I go, yeah, man, I've experienced that. And then I think and I go, I mean, in middle school, but like, do what you got to do, I guess. We all grow in different ways.
Yeah. So we see her teaching her Pilates class, and he comes and like apologizes, and they have this conversation. And so she's like, everything you said in the last 10 to 15 minutes is why I fell in love with you. I was like, you can't pick and choose these makeup points as like, oh, this is the Izzy I love, because it's the day to day that you have to like, y'all have to be together, not just like him being like more centered and he's grounding you when you're making up.
Listen, in the pods, she strictly said, "I'm the fun option, and you're gonna have more fun with me." I'm sure it's a lot of fun when you're on vacations that Netflix is paying for. But once you get to the real world, that fun is over, and you're gonna have to like. I'm confused why they didn't have these hard conversations in the pods before they even came out here, because this is obviously not going to work. Izzy would have been like, I'm so confused. Like. That's what he did with the other girl. Like,
apparently, when they do have hard conversations, Izzy likes to lie about the stuff. So
okay,
I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But you know,
in Izzy, and I've only seen clips. I have not watched a full podcast. But Izzy was recently on Nick Viall's podcast, and he said they have days in the pods where they have to talk about certain things. Like one day it's finances, one day it's sex, one day it's this, one day it's that. Right? And so I'm like, if y'all have topics that y'all have to discuss, why are y'all not getting into the nitty gritty? Because you would think before I propose to someone, we need to have these tough conversations.
They're embarrassed
because I want you to say yes when I ask you.
That's
why. And yeah, I think it must be hard for people to come out, you know, in these pods when they know every single thing they talk about is filmed, which I think is part of what the problem is with Izzy and his finances, because, you know, we'll get to it, but he wanted to have the conversation, you know, obviously off camera. So he decided to, you know, deceive a little bit in the pods. But yeah, I think the theme for this season is why differences won't work. I think that's what it is. Like the different love languages, different ways of living. I don't think it's going to work for any of them.
When they say opposites attract, they were lying to you. Don't do it.
Well, what's interesting is like there's if you're Milton and you're saying that this is a science experiment, they've thrown in too many variables. Like if the one variable you're going to take out on this show is being able to see each other and looks, I think that can work. But you then need to do basically a survey and be like, we've put people of similar love language, age range, whatever the whole checklist is of demographics that you think would make people have good partners. And it's almost like you need to do a survey, pair people up where they only have 2 or 3 options, and then have them talk to those 2 or 3 options that they've already been predisposed to, like, you know, by science work out best with. It's not going to cause a lot of drama, but like that, then you might find that this is how people do online dating. You have your checklist, you have your filters that you put in of the age range and the, qualities of if they want kids and if they don't and where they live and all that. And so you try to minimize things. It's like the one thing that this show has kept is that they live in the same city. But other than that, it seems like there's so many factors that, yeah, they might be attracted to each other having not seen each other. And they might have fallen in love, you know, based on talking, or at least fallen into infatuation. But then it's those real world things that are going to start to be like, I like you, but like, is this going to work?
Yeah.
See, but then it wouldn't be Love is Blind, you know, because like we have successful couples from this experiment. All you got to do is don't lie about something and tell people everything that you need to know. You know, like, why are you hiding this? like as Jason said, you know, you might be embarrassed, but this is what you sign up for, bro. You know, like, come on now. You knew this was going to be a problem at some point. Just tell them.
Yeah. To bring it back to this conversation in Pilates, he gave her this gift that she gets a coupon for dinner. You telling me that Stacey's not thinking, so one dinner? Why are you not cooking for me consistently? And then a plunger with this message on it. Maybe this is a deeper joke. Like they actually need a plunger at home.
It is. Do you remember from Mexico where she clogged the toilet up and they didn't have a plunger?
That's it. Okay. And then he framed a photo. So yeah, it was like a cute little gift. Do y'all think she liked it?
I think she liked that he showed up to her work and stuff. But the biggest ding I'll give against him here is the fact that he said, it was hard for me to show up here because I was hurt by the situation, but look, I did it. It's like, so you're saying that the bare minimum
keep your praise upon me.
Even when I've gotten into an argument that I'm also hurt, I was the bigger person and showed up. And I'm not trying to like, yes, people should be the bigger person, but it's the fact that you're saying it is saying, look, this is like, give me credit for this. I want credit for this, as opposed to just, I'm doing it because I want us to make up. And I think that that's like the hard part is once you start looking for and asking for credit. And the whole coupon thing is the same thing. It's like, look, proof. I'm going to do it. Also, different people have different opinions about this, but the whole coupon thing seems very sweet on the surface, but it does actually pass the responsibility for the thing to happen back into the hands of the person you gave the coupon for, because it's now up to them to be like, okay, is it today a good day for them to cook for me? Are they busy? Do I want food from them? Okay, I'm going to play the coupon, instead of just someone doing it because they actually want to. Just saying. It's like, you know.
Also, don't pretend that like it was your decision. You know, Netflix made you do it. You showed up perfectly with the camera set up during a Pilates class. You didn't even want to be there. You said, well, we haven't talked all day. Netflix said, get outside, go talk. We don't have enough couples right now.
I don't know why Netflix chose to change the word Pilates instructor to operations manager, because every time I see Stacy's age and occupation, it's operations manager. But now here she is teaching. Like, is this something she does in her off time?
It might be.
It might be, because I checked and she didn't have any classes coming up.
So most people I know who teach classes like that, it's like a part-time job that they do in addition to another job.
Oh, okay.
Not
and
all
if
of them,
you look at her Instagram, she has multiple things.
I'm not.
She's
maybe she's an operations manager of the Pilates place and then just teaches 1 or 2 classes. I don't know.
Go look at her Instagram, Jason. If you really want to know what she does.
Hold your ground, Jason. Don't do it.
So we also see her meeting his mom with her adorable. So Stacy's adorable dog, Tux.
Are you sure you're okay recapping this part, Aysha? Because I'm sure that you weren't paying attention because you were looking at that dog the whole time.
I know. I was like, did they talk about anything? I don't think so. But
honestly, they didn't talk about much.
Yeah, no, they really didn't. But I guess what really came of it was, you know, his mom is concerned, is, you know, naturally because of how they met, but she's looking out for Stacy and she's looking out for Izzy. So I don't know. I don't see any pushback here. It seems like she's just a supportive mom.
There was something that was like raised my alarm a little bit in this talk, and in some of the other talks they had as well. They both talk about like how they both have so many meltdowns. Like, you know, you have your meltdowns, I have my meltdowns, and she's always talking about how he is such a calming influence on her. I was like, are you like a rage monster at home? Like, what are you doing that we haven't seen? It seems weird to me how much they talk about how much they melt down and how much he has to calm her down. I was like, that's not really translating to the screen for me.
Well,
I also. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, for him to say his favorite part is that they fix it after these meltdowns. I'm like, no.
Are you fixing it if you keep having meltdowns?
Right, exactly. Like the point is to not get to the meltdown, not we make up every time.
And there was also red flags where the mom's like, why do you like my son? And like she's answering it, but then Izzy has to like kind of like step in and like kind of answer the rest of the question for her. And I've always been like, anytime the parents ask a question like that and then like the significant other has to like come in and save you just so the parent feels better, I'm just like, I don't know if this is the right fit. You know, oh, she loves me with all her heart, and like why can't she say that? You be quiet.
Yeah, he said it's a bond. She said it's a bond they can't explain. And I feel like that is an easy thing to say when you can't explain it.
That's boilerplate reality TV talk right there, where you cannot succinctly explain why you two are together and why you two are a great fit. You just say, oh, you know, it's just so natural. We have such a great bond, and you just leave it at that.
Yeah, like Jason, if someone asked you, what do you love about your wife? You're not just going to be like, I just can't explain.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know, it's just this je ne sais quoi. You know, I would list all the characteristics I love, but I'm not going to do that here on this podcast because I mean, I got to keep some stuff.
Be a 12-hour podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I would just, I couldn't list out all the ways on this notepad right here, but I'm not going to do that. But yeah, you have to be a little more descriptive when you're talking about why you love this person you love, and not just, hey, I met her on this reality show. She seems cool. We're going to get married. Like, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
There was also a decent amount of the, she brings out, or he brings out things in me that I've never had brought out of me by anyone else, which is also like not really a specific about that person.
Very safe answers.
He did also say, which I recently, I read like a research paper about this, saw TikTok. So he said that she loves him unconditionally. And I saw something recently, is like, the only type of like unconditional love like there should be is like between a parent and a child, because there are people in like obviously naturally in life people will hurt you, people will do things, and it's almost like, yeah, we can say that we love our partner unconditionally, but there are conditions that situation will change. I don't know, that just reminded me of that because of him also talking about these meltdowns. And he's just like, even though we have these like toxic moments where we blow up or we disagree, we have arguments, we make up. Like, look at the root of the issue. So we get the whole, which we've never done, right? Like Married at First Sight, we always get the marriage license stuff, right?
Yes.
We've never seen them go get marriage license on Love is Blind.
Yeah, I don't know why they decided to include this. They focused on it for less than a minute. I was like, okay, that's cool. I guess
they're not getting bracelets soldered on their arms this season. You know,
yeah, do something.
That's good. What were you gonna say, Jason?
No, I thought it was gonna be thought there was gonna be something coming of that, but it was just like a momentary thing. I was like, oh, okay, that was fun, I guess.
Yeah. So they did the wedding dress shopping and the suit shopping, and so that was all normal stuff. We do get a date that he's planning a plane hanger, and they go off in the plane, and then they have a very normal dinner. And she says they haven't had a lot of meltdowns recently, so that's a good sign.
That's good. We haven't screamed at each other in a minute, so that's positive. Like, okay, great.
Yeah.
1 segment later.
Yeah. Mary, what did you think about him saying that a lot of his family is not going to be at the wedding?
So we know that he has sort of a complicated way that he grew up, right? Like, wasn't he the one who didn't know for a while that his father wasn't actually his father?
Oh, yeah, he did say that. His cousin told him.
Yeah. So I think that that's understandable. It doesn't seem to be as big of a deal as it's been in past seasons, where it's like, my mom is refusing to come because she doesn't approve of this. It seems more like he doesn't really have a great relationship with them anyway. That's kind of what it seemed like from the way he was talking. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, I do think it was sweet that he, talked about the fact that marrying her is also going to help him gain a family. We've seen that in the past with some people as well. So I think that part was sweet. It didn't strike me as being anything too big, mostly because Stacey didn't like continue the conversation and say anything about it. She mostly just said like, oh yeah, well, my family loves you, so it's fine.
Yeah, I was surprised after the parent meeting we got from Stacey's family, where it was like, when we get to the dress shop, it's like, oh yeah, we love Izzy. He is the best. So I felt like we left that parents being like, I guess, but now they are in love with him. And apparently, like, even when they said like they've only met twice. So one was at parents' meeting, and apparently in that second meeting, he just really dazzled them because they seem to love him more than they love their own like family member.
Oh, like, another thing on Renee being there. Did y'all notice she was sitting next to someone who could possibly be her mom? Like, she was in white.
I thought that was Lydia's mom.
No, they were Lydia's mom, and whoever was with Renee was also, they were sitting next to each other. I was like, they really edited that out. It was
definitely her mom, yeah.
Yeah, they really edited that out. I was shocked, appalled. Yeah. So everything seems fine, right? Until we get this last scene where they clearly have had an argument because he has, we finally get to the point, they were skirting around it, but that he has bad credit. It was something involving $3,500, and she's just mad that he's just now brought it up. He waited until now. Can someone
explain to me, who is a financial dum-dum, what does like having bad credit mean? Does that mean like he got, like he didn't pay a credit card bill?
He got,
or like he has a low credit score, probably.
Well, you kind of have to do something to get that bad credit score, right? You have to, be delinquent on credit cards. You have to not pay things on time. I know Aysha Welch doesn't have to worry about that, so she might not know. But you have to do things to get bad credit. It could be you took out credit cards in college and didn't pay them, or whatever it may be. So it takes a while to build your credit back up. Now, the fact that he has no credit cards is a red flag. And
yeah, it's like, what happened? Like, are you banned?
There's definitely something here that he's not saying to maybe to Stacey and to definitely to us. because the fact that he has 0 credit cards, like, damn, your credit must be trash. And the interesting thing is, like, remember in the pods, Johnny was like, well, he has bad credit anyway. So he apparently told her
about it.
Yeah, he apparently told Johnny, but didn't explain it to Stacey. It's weird.
Maybe this was the kind of thing like in every single kids TV show where there's always that one episode where the kids get the credit card and they think it's like just like fake money that they don't have to worry about, and so they buy a bunch of stuff.
Full housed it. Yeah.
Right. Like maybe he just did that when he was younger.
This conversation was like there have been many conversations that have been like red flags, but this one for sure, because we've got to see how he handles this type of conflict repeatedly, right? Like he turns into this like, I'm so sorry, I'm a sad little boy who just, I hurt you, I'm sorry. Like,
well, it's not like I was trying to hide it from you. I just didn't like tell you.
Like you're so full of it, bro. Like
at least 10
he just
times
shrivels up.
Yeah, at least 10 times a phrase. I wasn't being, purposefully deceitful. I wasn't hiding things.
I just didn't tell you about it and maybe sort of lied a little bit.
I just definitely lied to you. Asked me directly about it. I wasn't trying to hide anything from you. I purposely lied when you asked me a direct question about this.
I wanted to have a formal sit down.
But until we had that formal sit down, I was just going to lie directly to your face / the wall.
When this guy like this. See, starting they're packing the bags. I'm like, who did something this time?
and like this show does such a good job with music and lack of music, because when we came into the scene, it was dead ass quiet. I was like, all right, who did what? Who did what?
She had the hoodie on.
And then when Izzy said like, great memories here, huh? And she was silent. I said, I said, Izzy done did something. What you do, Izzy?
Yes. It was like not a second went by that I was like, oh, it's tense. Mm-hmm. Like this is something which is like surprise. She said it at dinner. They had gone a little bit without a meltdown. I'm like, these are signs. These are some things that you should like take a step back, reflect on like how y'all handle situations. And what is the root of the problem? Because these things keep coming up and you're going to be like, oh, we had the credit card thing. Oh, we had the Johnny thing. Oh, we had the... Why is this happening?
The best part, she was like, when we were at the gas station, you said you didn't have credit card.
Izzy's that guy like, no, I got to pay cash. I don't have like, bro, you even have a debit card? You got nothing? They won't let you even have a debit card? What did you do? Am I weird for thinking that this was a capital offense for Izzy? Because I feel like for someone like Stacey, who
I say is difficult.
For someone like Stacey, who money is very important. Okay, I'm sure that she said something to that effect in the pause as well. And for Izzy to purposefully lie about it, not even say, well, it's complicated, we'll talk about it later, to give her some indication that something's up. But he apparently just purposely was like, nope, everything's good there. How big of an offense do you think this is, considering that we're talking about picking someone to marry? If Stacey had known this about Izzy, she could have crossed him off her list and possibly picked someone else in the pods.
Listen, I think this is a huge deal for her. I think this is bigger than the Johnny thing, because she's probably in her mind thinking, we literally had a conversation in this apartment about finances, about if my HVAC goes out, how can we handle that? You don't think that that's a perfect time to bring up your financial situation? Like, I feel like she feels like in this situation, you intentionally avoided sharing that with me. And that is a sign to me that moving forward, you have that ability. You may have information that you should be sharing with me, and you're just going to withhold it because you don't think the time is right, rather than just being open and transparent. And that's the scary part, is when they start talking about emotions, he is open. And so he's giving it off that he is open, but then clearly he's not 100% open about everything. So it's just like, if I'm Stacey, I'm like, what do I believe?
He was more concerned about her knowing if he had hair or not,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Like, it's crazy, man. This guy is a character. Like,
and this is a moment we're right up against the weddings. Like this isn't he could have picked any time in the weeks leading up to this to say something, but he chose right before the weddings to broach this topic with her. And if I'm Stacy, it's the red alert is blaring like don't do this. Daddy's not gonna be happy when you marry this poor person. It's gonna be a problem going down the line. Listen, I don't say that to chastise Chris. From one poor to another, I see I see a fellow brother. Okay, when I see the look in Chris's eyes when finances comes up, I'm sorry. When I see the look in Izzy's eyes when finance comes up, I said that man don't got no money. That man's a poor. I know it. I see it. I am one. I know. So
yes, sir.
you know, listen.
Just be straight up, man.
Yeah, okay. But we know episode 10 is the wedding. So final predictions. Do y'all think that they will get married?
No.
I think this credit card thing right here, I think put the pin in it for Stacey. She's like, I cannot do this.
She wants to go to Puerto Rico. Come on,
yeah, she wants to fly in private jets. When he mentioned like when they were on the plane date, like, oh yeah, her friend told me she likes to fly on private jets.
She wants to eat lobster and steak for dinner every night.
That's some Aysha Welch behavior. Like that's not going to fly with Stacey. Like that's not you. She can't be bumming it out with Chris. Izzy. She can't bum it out with Izzy. So yeah, I think she's going to say no.
You know, I thought you said Chris earlier, and I was like, maybe
I did that the whole time I was watching the show. I called Chris Izzy. I think I flip-flopped Stacey and Izzy a couple times. It's a mess.
It's hard.
It's hard. I think Stacey's gonna say no.
I think yes, I agree. I do think that if one of them says no, it will be Stacey.
I think Stacey should say no. I don't know if she will.
There's no way Izzy say no.
I think they both say yes, but I don't think they're going to last by the time we get to a reunion.
This is like Aladdin and Jasmine, but no genie to come fix everything. So, like, it's going to be bad, man.
Yeah, and I don't know yet if it's been solidified how they're doing the reunion, because right now Netflix only has episode 10 as the last episode, and we know that's going to be the wedding. So maybe they're going to drop an episode 11. They just don't have it on there yet.
We don't need a live reunion. That's all.
Yeah, please don't.
Oh, I'm sure they have learned their lesson.
Yeah. So our last couple of the two, Lydia and Milton. I was trying to find information about the reunion and found other headlines about this show. So we get that wrap up from Lydia and Milton from the party, and it was really just Milton talking about their perceptions are different on this whole situation. I don't know. What do y'all think about Lydia and Milton? Do y'all think that like just your overall impressions about them as a couple?
A little awkward, but like it'll oddly enough might work out because I think Lydia really just wants to be married, and I think Milton just kind of like chill, you know, like I don't know. It's a weird dynamic, but it oddly enough works and kind of grew on me.
So
sort of
the dynamic is odd because the way that she gets after him about things really brings out mother and son for me, and it's very odd and very weird about how much she has to get on him to pick up his clothes, and Milton, you left the towels on the floor again. I think it's a very odd dynamic. I think if they could get past that part of it, I think they would be a good couple. I think they have settled into this groove together, but I think it's when they bring up those topics of like, well, I tell you to clean up all the time and you don't, bad boy. I think that's why I'm like, this is weird. This is a weird dynamic. But you know, I like both of them as people as to what they are presenting outside of the Lydia and Uche drama.
I like them together a lot of the time. I completely agree with everything y'all have said about the dynamic. My biggest question is when Milton's family asks him, why are you even out here? We didn't even know that you wanted to be married. And I think that's my biggest question is like, I think Milton has done pretty well in this relationship with Lydia in terms of, he seems fine. He seems happy. But the one thing I don't get from him is any kind of commentary on like, yes, I need this. I've had a hard time dating. I'm looking for someone. Like feel like I can't. It just kind of seems a little random.
it felt like this seems like a fun thing to do. Why not do this? And I got that from who else? I get that from? Was it Izzy? Who's like, I didn't even think I was gonna come out here with a wife. Like, then what did you sign up for the show for? Like, what are you doing?
I was gonna fall in love.
That he thought he would never fall in love again, and yet that is his excuse on the show for why he stopped liking Johnny. Because she said that she wasn't sure if she was gonna fall in love again. Just saying.
Is he the only one on the cast right now that we have like no idea what his dating history is like?
Milton?
Yeah, Milton.
Well, there the whole controversy on TikTok where the girl he was dating right before
TikTok
the show said he broke
crazy.
up. Yeah, it is. Love is Blind TikTok is booming.
Wow.
But there was a girl that said that she was dating Milton and he broke up with her to go on the show.
I mean, like he was straight.
I don't see a problem with that. Y'all talking about last episode. I don't see
a problem either.
An issue at all.
As long as they actually broke up, I don't see a problem.
Yeah,
sure.
But it's definitely a little bit of a weird dynamic to be like, I'm dating someone, so clearly I don't have an issue finding people to date, and then I'm gonna break up with someone to get married. Like that's, I don't know.
Yeah,
he seems just so like blasé about everything. That's just kind of his tendency. And I think that Lydia is such the opposite. Where I think that's where they really clash, because the big theme of this episode is about how they each handle situations, right? Like Milton's like, why even let that bother you? Why like don't even pay attention to it? And Lydia's like, no, if someone does something to me, I'm gonna call it out. Is basically her thing.
Yeah.
So like I feel like diametrically those two stances cannot exist really.
Jason, that's cap. That's cap.
No, you can just see the difference in cultural like thing. He's like, no, that is not cap. like Milton says it so like so melodically. She's like, no, that is not cap. Like okay, grandma.
Yeah. So we saw them. We got to see a lot of personality from his parents and his sister Jessica. And I loved his sister because I am her, and like the big sister that is like, I know you better than anybody. Tell like what's going on here. And so I felt like his mom was very much so on the right. Like, hey, Lydia, what are you doing here? You're 30, he's 24. What do you do? I felt like I loved their energy.
Now see, I feel very different. I've seen a lot. I've watched a lot of these shows. I've seen a lot of first parent meetings. This was the biggest like grilling interrogation I've ever seen. It was when they like as soon as they walk in the door, it's so business-like. Like they are so like in business. Like I think the parents like even in business attire. It's like it's a job interview basically. It's not like nothing about it was really warm to me. Like as soon as they come in, it's like, all right, sit down. We got questions. Let's go. So I thought this was like one of the toughest meetings I've seen in these reality TV streets.
This is why I think it was, though. I think they had to come at it this way because they know their son. Like for them, this seems so ridiculous that their 24-year-old son, who they know did not have marriage on his mind, is about to get married. And
but
so
you got to be such a jerk about it.
I don't feel like how are they being jerks?
I'm gonna be real with you. His parents is exactly like my parents. I'm gonna be real, like his whole family is exactly like my family. But I agree with Asia here because like it seems like he's like on some BS sometimes. Like they didn't even know that they were living under the same roof this whole time. They said, "What? You guys are like living together? What's going on here?"
He's
like
told them nothing. Yeah,
he seems a little secretive, So they're just trying to make sure that marriage is real and you do not want to play around, especially if a divorce happens. There's a lot of implications with all that stuff, So I get. I'm always pro parents when they're like, "Why are you doing this?" So I can't hate on any of the parents on any of the seasons for this because this is kind of ridiculous, especially at a 24 years old. Like that's kind of crazy,
Because when the way that he came back home, it's like he got even more like a child. Like it seemed like he was his family is grilling Lydia, and I thought Lydia did a really good job actually in all these conversations of like explaining herself and explaining her relationship and why she was there and what she was looking for. And I felt like she did a good job. And I agree. I think his parents were completely in the right to say all that. I don't think that they were being out of line at all. But Milton just kind of like sits back like a kid swinging his legs on the counter and is like, ha ha ha, mom and dad, look at me back home. You trying to open the bottle with like his teeth. What was he doing?
God.
So weird.
Just watching
Literally, and for his sister to say, "What are you doing, Milton?" She has so many mature answers. What are you doing? He's like, "Chill." No, that's not. What are you like? You literally just showed your sister why you were in no position to be getting married. You can't even express an assistant. A sentence.
I was kind of on the chill side. I was like, "Yo, chill."
Yeah,
like,
she came out of it, but the parents, I'm okay with.
And I feel like it's fine for Milton to have that relationship and that attitude when he's around his family. What I think the part is, it's not showing that he's like actually taking this marriage thing seriously at all.
Yeah, I don't get that vibe whatsoever. I mean, and like to your point, Jason, of saying that they were being like jerks. I think if anything, they were being jerks to Milton, not to Lydia.
Yeah, but do that with Milton by himself when he comes over like by himself. Don't do that in front of Lydia. Like they were like kind of mean to Lydia, I think.
Listen,
a little bit.
If you're gonna be in a family, you gotta be transparent, bro. You know.
Well, yeah, like they sit her down, like, yeah, a lot of what you're saying is really rehearsed. Like, I don't know if you're for real. I don't know if you're like you sound really like you know what to say. Like, I thought that was kind of mean.
I don't know. I think mean is an overstatement. I feel like they were saying, yeah, it was very blunt. I don't think it was mean. But for them, like to say that, I think it's just the comparison. She's saying how she feels about him. She's saying how she feels about their future. He's saying nothing. So it's like, obviously they're like that meme that's like, what? I don't know which way to turn, because should I believe Milton's behavior where he's being so nonchalant that like, oh, this thing isn't serious? Or should I believe Lydia, who is saying that this is the real deal? We're meant for each other. Everything is perfect.
Listen, there's a lot of families who go on this show. They have to go to these weddings. I'm sure they have to take off from work, fly out, whatever, just to hear a no. It's like, you really wasting my time. I'm not going to forget that Bartice no, and the family was pissed. I'm like, yeah, I get it. So, Milton family's probably just trying to make sure, like, yo, like, do not waste my time. Do not make us look stupid on TV. Like, is this for real? Because if not, like, it's going to be hell to pay. So
if you're going to make us look stupid, we're going to make sure to make it clear that we were not okay with this.
Yeah.
But Miss Rita was not having none of it. It's like why are you interested in a 24-year-old? Who are you? Like,
even Jessica, when Lydia was like, "Are you ready for a James V?" and just like the 4th, loud and wrong.
Oh yeah, like
my mom was like, wait.
But
she's like on defense. Like, I'm telling you, like my little brother is 6 years younger. I mean, like I talk about him like he's a baby, but he's 25. And so like, I'm like that. I am very protective of him. You're going to come into his life. I need to make sure you have great intentions. Like I am going to be defensive of that. So I get Jessica that like, we give second mom energy. So
the sister was doing a little too much.
That's just like, why are you deciding to get married? Like, why did you get married, Jessica? Like, ask me about my
and she's
stuff.
like, oh, I could tell
Focus on yourself. Dang.
I want to see Jessica grill like Izzy and Stacy. Be like, yeah, but why do you like him?
Right. And then for his sister to go, it's phony. It's phony. Like, damn. Like, no. Aysha, you would do that? You be that like loud and
if he wasn't saying nothing, if I pulled him off to the side
God.
and he was
to the side, she did it in front of Lydia.
You are
Lydia,
not going to do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like they should have talked before even getting to this point. It wouldn't be the first time I'm talking to you about your situation. All together.
The grilling of Milton should have been done separately. And then when you meet Lydia, yes, find out about Lydia, but don't be like I almost expected the spotlight to come out and be like, sit on the spotlight. We got questions. Like that's what I almost felt like it was.
Yeah.
But y'all see no problem.
Well, she got to know what
I guess I'm the wrong one.
She got to know what she's getting involved with, man. Like this is a big thing.
This is the family she's joining. Yeah. They're being direct. They are showing how much they care about him. They also are showing how much they know him. So I don't know. I feel like it's saying a lot. They get their marriage license. They go wedding dress shopping, suit shopping. Milton says it's scary good how good their communication is. Which I was like,
if that's not the kiss of death, then
right, exactly.
It's like, we did really easy to communicate when we haven't had any serious conversations at all.
Exactly. We did get one scene with Milton and Jessica where he's just saying like the differences between their families, and he's just like, he's treating this as like, you just collect all the data you need and you do with it what you can with that information. But I don't know. I still feel like Jessica's not sold.
I feel like I'm in the minority, but I think that Milton kind of has his head straight here, and I think he is pretty ready for this in a way.
I think he is ready. The family dynamic when he wasn't like telling them certain things, I'm like, maybe you're not. But he has a good career. And he's messy. That's not a big issue that can be fixed. I think he is ready. I am with you, Jason, in that regard. God. But I will say I am on the side of the parents as well. I'm on the side of the parents every season because this is a ridiculous thing to do. So I'm never going to hate the parents for that. But I do agree with you. Between him and Lydia, I think Milton is the most mature and he is ready for something. I just don't know if it's this.
Right. I do think he's mature. I think there could be a world where he is ready for marriage. But is he ready for marriage with Lydia? That's the question here. Like he could totally be in a position to be ready for marriage. But I think it's like, ready for marriage. Okay, am I ready for marriage with this person?
She's alive.
Yeah, which we see in this date at the Natural Science Museum in Houston. It's in the arts district. I always go over there because one of my favorite restaurants is over there, Lucille's. Shout out to Houston. They're having this conversation where they get into him not liking her behavior during the exchange. He just wishes she would have handled it, the exchange with Uche. He wishes that she would have handled it more like he would have handled it. So I do think that there is a happy medium here. You don't have to handle it like Milton. You don't have to handle it like Lydia. But it also, I think they're both in the wrong here because I don't think that he should have this expectation that she should handle things just how he would. I also don't think that Lydia was respectful to Milton and how she handled things with Uche.
I think some of it was also it was a lot of these semantics of like, I'm not judging you. I'm just telling you I wouldn't have handled it that way. And therefore I don't really respect people who don't handle it that way. It's fine that you're emotional. It's fine. But can you not be so emotional all the time? And I feel like, and then from that was, that's an exaggeration of what he was saying. And then from her perspective, she's like, but I'm just like this. I'm just going to be overly emotional all the time. Why can't you just accept that? It's like, but well, maybe if the other person is saying that they're not as comfortable with that or have reasons to not appreciate that in this scenario, maybe meet them halfway. I agree, Aysha. There's got to be a middle ground here.
Yeah, I think that Lydia is, a 30-year-old woman. I think Milton has this bad perception that he's going to come in here and he's going to change how she reacts and how she does things. Bad idea, brother. That's not gonna happen. She is who she is, and that's who she's gonna be. If you don't like it, you need to say no at the altar because that's what it's gonna be. It's not gonna be these conversations like, well, I wish you could handle it differently, and she's gonna do it. No, she's gonna handle it the way that she handles her life, the way that she does. Milton, you've been doing so great up until this last convo. To me, he's like, they're having this conversation about basically they're accusing each other of not listening to one another. And she says, so I don't listen to you. He's like, not when I'm trying to give you encouragement, which basically means like you're not doing things I'm telling you to do, which is a problem. I was like, oh, that's just another way of saying that basically.
I'm also that's why I was saying I don't know if this is the right marriage for him because they're also just very different, not even just age, but personality wise. They're like, she's a very emotional person. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, this is the second time I've seen her storm off in this season, and then there's a yelling, obviously, and then she cries a lot. And, like I said, people handle things differently. But if that's not what you're looking for, you need to be straight up. Because if you just think that, it'll be fine in the future, it's not, and you're going to hurt. Someone's going to get hurt. You know what I'm saying? So she's been pretty blatantly transparent, not even just now, but in the pods as well. Even with Izzy, she was like, I want to be with someone who loves me for me. And I don't think that's a badass. Milton, you know what you're signing up for. be sure you're ready for this because this is going to be a lot. So you know, he just got to be ready for that, man.
Yeah, I mean, he tells her like, I'm scared to say things to you because of how you're going to react. That's what you want to do for the rest of your life. Like,
Yeah.
really think about that, because, like I said, it's not gonna change as much as you want it to. It's not.
And I hate to say it, and I hate to make this is the I'm only making this comparison for this specific point, but him just saying like, oh, what?
I can't wait to hear this. They're really getting a preamble up here.
But for him to say, just don't be, so emotional. Just don't handle it this way. It's the same as JP saying, just don't wear makeup. It's not as black and white. You can't just make a claim about like make a statement that it's just not going to happen. Like, just don't laugh at jokes. That's it. Like, you can't, for him, like, that's what he prefers about her, right? But it's like, okay, if she doesn't, will you like that? And if the answer is no, then y'all should not be together.
Yeah.
Right. Like, some people can see past things, just like she said, she prefers you not to be messy, but she still puts up with it. You can put up with it too if you really like her like that, Like, come on now.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, that's a perfect comparison. Like, I don't know. I just, even for them to get into the conversation of like the difference between arguments and disagreements, and he doesn't like doing this, and she's like, "Well, do you think I do?" He's like, "Maybe. I don't know." It's just like, ugh, I don't know.
And the way that he handled things after she got back from her, cry session, where I don't know if this was editing. I don't know if they wanted us to like really doubt things, but as she's talking to him, he like does not say anything. He's just silent, just eating his food. As she asks him questions, I was like, oh my gosh, like she tells him she loves him, and he's like, you love me too, right? And he doesn't answer. It's like this is not a good look. But in my mind, I think that's more of the show trying to depict something than what actually happened.
Yeah, it's probably partially editing at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anything else on this Lydia and Milton conversation?
Unserious.
Yeah, I thought the whole thing about him saying like, don't like, I wouldn't be cussing out my ex, and she's like, no, I was just saying that to you. Those things are true.
I mean, but she did cuss at Uche though.
Right. She don't remember.
Roll back the tape. She was in a rage. She was blacked out.
Exactly. But next time we get the weddings, and we do get her saying, "What am I doing wrong?" Which kind of makes me want to say that they get married. Because why would they include that?
Yeah, I think they're both going to say yes. I think that Milton is so laid back. He's so just go with the flow. He's going to do this. And I think she really wants to be married. She really wants to make this work, even though it probably won't work. She wants to make it work. So she's going to say yes right here at the weddings. The question is, are they still going to be together by reunion? Gosh, I would say no.
Oh, what about you, Mary?
Oh, yeah, I think they'll say yes. I think they'll be together. I think that the only reason this show could have only given us two couples, like to not even show us some of the other ones. I know that a lot of other stuff went down that we talked about, but the fact that we didn't even see like any random people in the pods get together must be that at least one of these couples gets married. So,
yeah.
This is a flop season. I'm gonna be real with you.
It's rough.
Yeah, I don't think it's as much of a flop as season 2 of The Ultimatum, though.
Well,
I
that
don't
was
watch
boring.
that.
There's a difference. Yeah, this one hasn't been boring. It's just been disappointing.
Yeah, definitely full of drama.
Bored. I've been bored a lot of this season. I'll tell you. Like the first half of like the 5th episode, I was like, "What are we doing here?" Like we're talking about nonsense conversations, and we've had these pops of drama, but other than that, it's just like I'm not really rooting for the love story for any of these people. Like I was with a Cam and Lauren or a Brett and Tiffany, where they were boring. But I was like, oh my God, they are so good together. They need to get together. I don't have that here. So
the only season that's like bored me this much is season 2. So like this is down there with that personally for me. Like I don't know. There's not enough love. The drama is with a bunch of people who didn't even come out the pods. I'm just like, there's too much bull crap coming out about like stuff that happened behind the scenes. I'm tired of it. I even saw Uche's Instagram story scandal the other day, and I'm tired with
the
season.
Q&A.
Yes, I saw that. So
there's just so much variance between all these seasons. Whereas like season 4 was, I think, a definite high for the series. Whereas season 5 is like, oh, yikes.
Mary, what happened?
I don't know what happened to my camera. Hi. I don't know why I got so much closer.
Close up.
All right. I'm
She's
gonna try
like,
to
listen
figure
to
that
me.
out.
But yes,
Isaiah, you didn't say what you thought Lydia and Milton were gonna do?
I mean, someone has to say yes, right? Yeah. Let's go with yeah. I don't think it'll work out too. Yeah, I'll just say yeah, because she's not going to want a divorce. I don't know. I really just don't care.
I think once the cameras go away, there's gonna be some crazy to pop off with Lydia, I think, and that's gonna cause it to implode.
She's a firecracker.
Yeah, I feel like the wedding is gonna be a very like, oh, okay, that happened, but the reunion might be an interesting episode.
We might be in for one of the best reunions of all time.
There we go.
Do you think there's going to be any kind of fireworks with Stacey and Izzy? Because in the preview, we saw like Izzy's like in the background and Stacey's in the foreground. She seems to be like chasing after him or something. Do you think we're gonna get any big fireworks in that scenario?
Not in front of their families, but if it's before they get in, before the wedding day, sure, why not?
Yeah. And I don't want to do any spoilers, but so I'm not going to say it here, but if you are interested, there is someone from this show, go look on TMZ. TMZ has reported on spotting that person.
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
I didn't.
Yeah, so go check it out. Thank you, Isaiah and Jason, for being here. Really appreciate y'all's takes every season. Glad we found time to do it.
Though?
Yes.
Okay.
We didn't have as many disagreements as we've had before.
Nah, we nothing has topped the first season that we came on where we were we were squabbling about Jared and Ayana.
Yes.
Boy, nothing has topped that.
That was crazy.
I don't want to say we were right.
Jared and Ayana is like every 2 months the situation changed. Going back and forth.
Right.
We're like, I'm right.
Like,
no, I'm
tattoos. So yes, thank y'all so much for joining us. Like I said, make sure y'all go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed wherever you get your podcasts, and also subscribe to the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube channel. And just leave a comment. Let us know what you think, so we know that y'all are enjoying this content. Isaiah, what are you up to? Where can people follow you and keep up with you?
You can find me at 8 Ball Bangers on all social media platforms. You see me on RHAP talking about Big Brother occasionally, and you can find me at Silent Podcast on all platforms talking about other reality TV shows, including this one. It's called Love is Blurry. Shout out to Shake. But so check that out.
Thanks for joining us. Jason, what about you?
You can find me, all over the place. I'm on post show recaps. The new season of Loki is coming out from Marvel, and I will be talking about that with Sasha Joseph over on post show recaps. And coming out, finally, we got a premiere date for Married at First Sight season 17 with me and the person above me up here, Aysha Welch, aka Aysha Wealth. We will be talking about the new season in a couple weeks. So when that comes out, check out A Perfect Match with me and Aysha talking about Married at First Sight.
Yes. Can't wait. Mary, what about you?
I have been doing a lot of different podcasts over on RHAP for Big Brother. I was on the Slop last week, as well as an episode recap that went off.
That was
rails.
intense.
I know that if you're in the Rob as a Podcast community, there was some people away, including, I believe, everybody on this panel in New York. And for those of us who were not in New York, let's just say there was no structure or control. So
I'm gonna have to watch that.
That's what happens when Rob is away.
Yeah, definitely worth it to check out the video of the Tuesday night recap from last week.
Awesome. And yeah, y'all can find me everywhere at Aysha Like Aysha. That's AYSHA like ASIA. We have this. I'm still on a high from the other Black girl over on Hulu, Mari Forth and I. It's so hard switching between Mary and Mari. I always do it. So Mari Forth and I, we covered the other Black girl over on Post Show Recap. So you can find our full coverage of the full season over on the Connect. We're in the Connect has a feed, but on Post Show Recaps. And yeah, Married at First Sight season 17 is starting up soon, so can't wait for that. And yeah, thank y'all so much for joining us. We will be back to talk about the weddings, and then when we find out about the reunion, we'll be back to talk about that. But yeah, until next time, we'll see y'all then. Bye.